Hi, I'm Tyson with Adventure Rig out here in the Midwest, beautiful northern Minnesota. Now, Callie and I move out here for the summers for our summer work from Colorado. And in Colorado, we have an abundant amount of activities. But once we come out here, we find that sometimes it's easy to get a little bit bored if we're not working. Thankfully though, iKON has us covered. This is an electric skateboard that they make, the Edge II. This has been so much fun having out here because you can see that I'm on a nice little path here. We have about 20 miles of paths that run throughout this town. So this is awesome because you can just easily jump on this and start cruising around town having a great time. This is one of those items that I feel like was something I didn't actually know I needed until I had it. So let's back up a little bit. You heard me correctly. This is an electric skateboard. Now, if you know Callie and I, you already know that we love things with motors. We love the motorcycles, dirt bikes, paramotor, all that kind of stuff. This is the first item that we've had though that is an electric motor, and it has blown our minds. It's so much fun and it's easy to use and extremely quiet. We'll get into all of that. So the battery on this board is a LiPo battery, and it's a 6-cell 2000 watt. And the cells are actually laid into the board itself. You can see this deal right here. This is not the battery, but it is throughout the bottom of the board here. Now this deck is a bamboo deck, has a lot of flexibility to it. It's really easy to ride, it's comfortable to ride. And then on the bottom, they have this nice carbon fiber sheet. I think that it really makes the entire board pop, especially because of these gold-plated trucks. And what really blows your mind is that it's actual gold. Now, these are iKON trucks, they're 9 inches, and the wheels are 90mm wheels. I like these because here's my fear, and it may still happen, it hasn't happened yet, but it's definitely something in the back of my head, is that when I'm cruising around on this thing, I hit a rock, or out here we have windstorms and we'll get a lot of sticks that fall on the paths. I hit a stick and I don't roll over it, the board comes to a stop and I come off of it. But these wheels are large enough that I have not had that issue at all. Cracks, sticks, rocks, I've been able to go over all of them, thankfully, because if I fall off of this, our flying season is done. That brings me to my next point. How fast does this actually go? On their website, I found 2 different speeds listed, both 27 and 29. What I will say is that I've gotten it up to 22, and that was plenty fast for me. Maybe in the fall when we're done flying and working, I will get on this thing and go balls to the walls. But 22, I started to get the shimmies a little bit, and I was like, whoa, we gotta back it down. So cruising down the runway was 22, plenty fast. Now I accomplished that speed on the 3rd power setting. This is the remote that the board comes with, and it has a nice screen on it that gives you a lot of different readouts. You have your total mileage that is on the board, as well as the mileage since the last time it was charged. You also have a battery readout for the board, as well as a separate readout for the remote. And then it does have a speedometer on it to tell you how fast you're going. And then the board can change direction. So it has an arrow either pointing up or down, telling you if you're going in forward or reverse, as well as the power settings. So again, that is 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if you just give the bottom button a press, that will take you through each of the 4 power settings. Every time you press it, the remote does vibrate, so you kind of know what's going on if you were to press that button without actually looking at the screen. So once you press it, that gets you to the next setting, and you can go a little bit faster through each of them. On the power setting 1, I can go about 9 or 10 miles an hour, and then it just slowly increases through there till, like I said, on 3, I was doing 21, 22 on it, and that again was plenty fast for me. The remote is intuitive, easy to use. Also, it's ergonomic. It fits in your hand very nicely, and the throttle is up here on the top for your thumb. So when you're just holding it like this, cruising along, your thumb sits naturally on the very top here, right on the throttle. So if you push the throttle forward, it starts the wheels going in the forward motion. And then what's great about this is there's also a brake. So if you pull the wheel backwards, that engages the brake. What probably blew me away about all of this is how smooth all of this actually happens. So when you go to give it throttle, it's not jerky. It doesn't just take off on you and want to throw you off the board. It is a very nice, smooth transition. That is the same for when you brake. It's not just a slam on the brake, come to a skidding halt. It slowly brakes for you. What's also cool is it's regenerative braking. What this means is that while you're braking, the board is regenerating power and actually putting electricity back into the battery system. So if you were at, say, 50%, maybe you're in the mountains and you're lucky and you're not out here in the flats, and you need to brake going down the hill for maybe a mile, you are going to be recharging the battery the entire time that you're braking with the remote. Now, I think something else that helps with how smooth the board actually is when you're riding it is that there are two motors. So each wheel is actually independently driven. So this can help with traction as well as turning. So the turning radius, for one, is insane on this. On our runway, it's 17 feet wide, and I can turn around within the confines of the runway. I wasn't expecting that. I was definitely very surprised and pleased by it. Now, when you're turning like that, or when you're turning in general, one wheel is going to always be spinning faster than another wheel. So having these two motors, one on each wheel, and being independent, it's going to allow that, and it's going to add to that whole experience of everything working together and being super smooth. The fact that this is an electric skateboard, I wasn't sure how loud or quiet it was really going to be. Sometimes electric motors can have a little bit of a hum to them. Right now, I'm on setting 4, so this is the fastest. Now, if I pick this up and kind of hold it a little bit closer to the mic, if I hit the throttle at full speed, you can clearly hear how loud this is. And in my mind, that's really quiet, because once it's on the ground and you're cruising, the sound the wheels are making over the pavement is louder than these motors. So honestly, I can't even hear it when I'm just cruising around, and I think that's pretty dang cool. Now, what if you're out cruising and you're in a rainstorm? Well, this is IP57 rated. Now, you're not going to want to take it and dunk it in the pool or go water skiing with it, but if you get caught in the rain, you're cruising through puddles, this is fully sealed and it shouldn't give you any type of problem. All right, so what are some real world stats that I found versus what they're saying? Well, for one, they say that it can climb a 27% grade. Now, out here, I don't know where I'd ever honestly find a 27% grade, or honestly, probably like a 2% grade. The most that we've been able to find is inside of a parking garage. I don't even know what a parking garage grade is. It's lame, I can tell you that. So it easily cruises up the parking garage without any issues whatsoever. And then coming down, hitting the brake, you can go as slow or fast as you want. Now, we're gonna be back in Colorado in a couple of months, and I'm going to get this out on some mountain passes there and really put it to the test. So if you have some specific questions on that, just leave it in the comments section below. And once we run it through that, I'll get back to you and try to answer any questions that you have. With range, they say up to 18 miles. Now, this is definitely gonna be very dependent on your riding condition. If you're trying to go full bore up a 27% grade, you're probably not gonna get 18 miles out of it. For Callie and I found real world to be more like 10 to 12 miles before the board is dying on us. The remote seems like it'll go days. So for us, that 10 to 12 mile range is going to be in varying conditions where we're going 20, then we're slowing down, going around a corner, going down some slight declines, going up some slight declines, and at the end of the day, again, 10 to 12 miles is kind of what we're seeing. If you're in a situation though where maybe you're braking a lot more, well, the fact that it's regenerating power, you're going to get some extra mileage out of it. If you need to go somewhere that's, say, 9 miles away and you still have to go home, if that somewhere that you're going does have electricity, you can plug the charger into this and you're gonna get a full charge in about 3 hours so that you can get back home. Also, this board is not something I necessarily want to throw on a backpack and take out into the woods for a hike. It does come in at about 16 pounds, so it's not the lightest thing out there. At the end of the day, it's still a skateboard. So if you were to run out of battery power, you literally can lay it on the ground and push it like a normal skateboard, but you're gonna feel some of that weight. Also, you'll feel a little bit of resistance from the motors themselves. The motors are also built into these wheels, which I love because it gives the entire board a nice, sleek look. There's not a big apparatus hanging out. There's not belts that you have to worry about changing or breaking or anything like that. It's all inside, sealed, and looks awesome. who is this board for? Well, if you love skateboarding, it's definitely for you. If you love longboarding, check that box. What if you've never ridden a skateboard? Welcome to Callie's world. Now, Callie is athletic, so she picked it up pretty quick, but she's never been on a skateboard necessarily or knows how to ride one. So if that's you and you think this looks like fun, I'd highly encourage you to definitely get one and get on it, because it's not difficult to actually ride. You do need a little bit of balance, but you can easily gain balance by just getting this on the ground and riding it. Ride it around your driveway, your street, that kind of thing. You're gonna get balance very quickly, and from there, you can start going faster, cruising around, doing some carves. It's a ton of fun. So don't worry that even though you've never ridden a skateboard, now all of a sudden this isn't for you, because it definitely is. So you're really excited and you're like, yep, I need one of these. How much does it cost to have that much fun? Well, this comes in at right about $1,000. It's definitely not the cheapest toy on the market, but I love the fact that it's so easy to use. Literally, I can hit the button on the bottom, power it up, and if it's windy out and we're not flying, I can just cruise up and down the runway, which is a lot of fun, especially out here where there's not a whole lot to do. It's awesome that this is not a very intense thing. I don't have to put on all this gear. I don't have to drive 20 miles to use it. I don't have to wait for the weather to be perfect. I can ride it in the rain, the sun, the clouds, whatever. As long as it's charged, I can put it down and go ride it. The only thing that I personally see as a drawback, and I clearly could see this getting this board, but for Callie and I, our lifestyle leads us to a lot of places where we're in the dirt, the gravel, the grass, the sand, that kind of stuff. This is really for pavement. That's where it excels. I've tried it in the grass. It wasn't powerful enough and I couldn't get it to move. But again, this wasn't a surprise, and with the path system that we have here, this is awesome on it, and it really cruises. If it was made as a board that goes off-road and on the pavement, it would not be nearly as fun to carve on, in my opinion. So with that said, stick to the pavement. If you're a person that seems to always be fighting boredom, then look no further than the Edge II. This is gonna cure that in no time. Again, this is made by iKON Skateboards. It is the Edge II. If you have any questions about this, please leave them in the comments section below and I will get back to you. Thanks again for watching. If you're wondering where Callie and I are or what we're up to, check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Adventure Rig. Thanks again for watching. I'm Tyson with Adventure Rig.